We're out here in the middle of March, but you're actually seeing this in April. So the timing of this is a little different, but we'll go through some of the main steps in pruning some of our flowering shrubs in early spring. Typically for many things, so this is a forsythia here, but for forsythia or lilacs and our viburnums, a lot of times the recommendation will be is to wait till after flowering to go ahead and do the pruning. And in your particular case, that may work well for you. Sometimes though, we may have a shrub like this that is just so overgrown that this is really the right time to do it. Before we have a lot of things coming on, the leaves and the flowers coming on, we can get in and really see what we have. And I might decrease the flowering a little bit here, but over the next 2 or 3 seasons, it'll actually increase the amount of flowering and appreciation you have for that shrub in your landscape. So we're gonna look at a couple things. First off, we'll talk about just making sure you have some gloves, your safety glasses, make sure you've cleaned up your pruners, they're nice and sharp for you so you're ready to go. And then, you know, we're gonna look at removing some of the biggest canes, which really applies to any of our big flowering shrubs, these early spring flowering shrubs. We'll start off removing the larger canes and then do some shaping afterwards. Another approach may be to come in and take this clearly to the ground, what we might call a rejuvenation pruning. That sometimes is a good thing to do. And some of the other shrubs, maybe like a spirea, sometimes will benefit from that. Certainly your butterfly bush, your beautyberry, you're gonna go ahead and cut those to the ground. But what I tend to find when we do that to something like a forsythia or lilac is that you end up getting another flush of growth, and at some point you have to start going through that process of taking out the largest canes. Usually about 1/3 is what we shoot for each year. And then kind of work at pruning that, and over a period of time, again, over a 2 or 3 year period, you'll end up getting that shrub back to the way you really want it to be. So also this time of year, a couple of things to look at. If you have some trees in your yard, so you know, another tree that a lot of times we'll have questions about are crab apples. So should we prune it now? Shouldn't we prune it now? And really any other plant, if you have a broken branch, something that's died back, something that's crossing, we can go ahead and take those out this time of year. Something like a crab apple, another plant that we might want to wait for it to be done flowering before we go in and do a lot of pruning. I tend to wait till midsummer for those to reduce the potential for suckering. If you have a sugar maple in your yard or one of the maples, again, you could do some pruning now. Sometimes people worry about the sap flow that we get off of those and it being unsightly. So I would recommend, again, waiting until after it's leafed out to do some of that pruning, and that way it reduces the amount of sap that you'll see from that tree. So that's one of those other areas that you can kind of think about as you're walking around your yard.